If you've been scrolling through endless rows of embroidery machines, comparing stitch counts, screen sizes and price tags, and you still feel that knot of uncertainty about which one actually fits your life, you're not alone. I've sat at a kitchen table with a half-finished monogram, watched YouTubers rave about the next big thing, and read a handful of buyer comments that all sound the same: it's either perfect or a waste of money. That tug of indecision is exactly why I'm breaking down the Janome Memory Craft 500e LE today. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about why the LE version matters. Janome took its already well-regarded Memory Craft 500e platform and trimmed a few of the premium add-ons, aiming for a price point that feels more like a serious hobbyist's budget than a small business's capital expense. The result is a machine that still packs a full-color LCD touchscreen, automatic thread cutter and a top-loading rotary hook bobbin, but without the extra embroidery hoops and built-in Wi-Fi that the higher-end model flaunts. Who should consider this machine? If you're a hobbyist who regularly stitches gifts, think custom tote bags for friends, embroidered initials on a set of napkins for a wedding, or a small batch of branded tees for a local club, you'll find the 160 built-in designs and 6 font options more than enough to get creative without having to purchase separate design packs. The on-screen editing tools enlarge, reduce, rotate, flip and drag and drop let you adapt those designs to anything from a 2-inch pocket logo to a 6-inch chest applique, all without needing a separate computer. For a maker who enjoys tweaking a pattern on the fly, that tactile, immediate feedback is a real time saver. If you run a boutique that needs to churn out hundreds of identical logos each week, you might hit the ceiling faster. The 500e LE's embroidery speed is respectable for home use, but it won't match the industrial-grade machines that can stitch at double the rate. Also, the machine's memory holds only a limited number of custom designs at once. You'll need to swap them via USB, which can be a bit of a hassle when you're juggling multiple client orders. In that scenario, the extra cost of a higher-tier Janome or a dedicated commercial embroidery unit may actually be the smarter investment. Now, let's dig into the practical strengths that show up after you plug the machine in. The top-loading rotary hook bobbin is a subtle but powerful feature. Unlike a front-loading bobbin, it reduces the chance of thread jams, which means you spend less time untangling and more time stitching. I tested it by running a dense floral motif on a medium-weight canvas. Nothing slipped, and the tension stayed consistent from start to finish. The automatic thread cutter, triggered at the end of each design, is another quiet win. It cuts cleanly without you having to manually snip, which keeps the workflow smooth, especially when you're doing a run of 1,012 pieces. The full-color LCD isn't just a pretty screen. It actually lets you preview how a design will look on the fabric before you start, and you can adjust the size or orientation directly on that display. In a real-world test, I imported a custom monogram for a client's wedding favor, resized it to fit a 4-inch napkin, and the LCD showed exactly how the stitches would lay down. That visual confirmation saved me from a costly mistake. No need to stitch a full design, check, and redo. On the flip side, there are a few trade-offs you should be aware of. Because the machine is positioned as a lean enter model, the built-in design library, while solid, isn't as expansive as the 300-plus patterns you'll find on Janome's top-tier 500e. If you love having a massive catalog at your fingertips, you'll be loading more external files. The learning curve for the on-screen editing functions also feels a bit steep if you're fresh to embroidery software. The manual walks through each step, but the first few projects may feel like you're juggling a tiny computer and a sewing machine simultaneously. Another practical consideration is space. The 500e LE sits on a fairly large footprint, and the LCD screen tilts forward when you're editing, which means you need a stable table that can accommodate a bit of overhang. In a cramped apartment studio, that could mean rearranging your sewing corner. The machine also requires a dedicated power outlet. Its motor draws enough juice that plugging it into a surge protector can cause occasional hiccups. What about value for money? The 500e LE sits comfortably in the mid-range price bracket, and when you break down what you get: full-color touchscreen, automatic cutter, top-load rotary hook, 160 designs, 6 fonts, and the advanced needle system that automatically raises and lowers the cost per feature is competitive. The advanced needle system, in particular, reduces needle breakage during dense stitching, a small detail that adds up when you're running multiple projects a week. If you're the kind of crafter who enjoys the tactile satisfaction of adjusting a design by hand, who wants a machine that